Hey there everybody, wanted to do a quick unboxing of the latest product. I'm not 100% sure what it is right now, but I am fairly sure. So if that's the case, this will be something from the Keeping It Kickstarter series and will be slotted into that playlist. And make sure you check out the rest of those videos as well, as we are going to be doing some updates soon actually. On one actually, speaking of that, one of the things that actually opens this box for me, the Orbit Key Pro, we're going to talk about how that's been holding up. Spoiler alert, it's been holding up great, but go into a little more depth on that. So yeah, stay tuned. But yeah, let's open this up. One second, let's make sure there's no packing slip in that bad boy. Okay, I don't think there is. So let's get into it. And here is what we have from the folks over at Sharge. This is their Disk Pro. So this is something that you may have seen. I know I got advertised it a lot, and we got it in the 1 terabyte option. And this is just an unboxing and just some general first impressions, but one of the reasons I didn't go higher on the actual capacity was that it is a fixed SSD. So if anything happens that causes it to be like broken for whatever reason, you cannot replace it anyway. So I was like, yeah, no need to use I think they have up to 4 terabytes that you can get there. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but as you can see on the box, it kind of shows what goes on there, and they have it hooked up to a MacBook Pro. But let's see some of the specs there. The active cooling fan, it's got USB 3.0 and USB 2.0. It is very slim. So, and I think primarily I'll be using it for the iPhone as they show here, but I do have a 2 terabyte Lexar SSD that is very small, way smaller than this, but yeah, so, and I think I have that somewhere actually. Yeah, I can't remember where I put it right now, but I do. Oh, you know what? I do know where I put that. Let me grab it. Just to give you an idea of kind of what is some of the things I'm using to expand storage on the iPhone, as I did just go with the 1 terabyte model iPhone 17 Pro Max, which replaced my 13 Pro Max, which was also a terabyte. But let's get into this. Hopefully this is zooming in properly for you. But it feels, it's really hard to describe the feeling, but it feels very cool to the touch and very like aluminum feeling, even though it may just be plastic, but it feels very sturdy and like it'll last a long time. So that's really cool. You can see some ventilation on the side here. It says don't cover while working, so it'll heat up if you do, I guess. And if you know anything about Sharge, you know kind of their design language is really interesting. And I love that you can see everything here. Like, it's very cool. I also have another project of theirs. They have been doing this yellow and black colorway, which I think looks really iconic. Tough to say that as a Ravens fan, but when I see it on my tech, it just looks really nice. So I actually have their smaller SSD that works for the like gaming handhelds. I originally got one for my Steam Deck OLED, and then I also got one for my ROG LIX. So it has a yellow and black colorway, and then I got the other colorway of that that's also like a gray and black. And as you can see, that is the other option they have here. So they're kind of also getting their own colorways associated with their design, but they've also shown to always do like some type of clear see-through stuff, which is really cool. And this is actually not the only Sharge product that I'll be doing a video on in the very like near future. That's a bit newer that not many people probably have. So let's go over the port selection here. You've got the USB 2.0 here, the USB 3.0 there. This says it's an HDMI, 4K at 144 hertz there. Then you got the power delivery input here. That one's a 10 gigabits, and you got 100 watts. And then you can see the fan here, and then there's a couple buttons here. If I remember correctly, one of these buttons, I don't know if it's this one, is actually how you turn on the fan. Yes, I think it is. Looks like there's a couple different things that you can see. I don't know if it's going to zoom in good enough on this little camera, but one says turbo and the other one says auto. Yeah, it says auto. And then, so I believe this switch here is actually what turns the SSD on and off. So if you wanted to lock, well, not really lock, but turn the SSD off, you could through this method here. What I've seen is they're also saying that this is going to function as a kind of USB-C hub. So that's why you have the 4K at 144 hertz, and then it also offers, I believe, it says 8K at 30 hertz, but I don't have anything 8K to test that. So yeah, not really gonna be able to benchmark that. Let's see how this kind of fits on the back of the iPhone as well. So let me take off, I have this Plod Note Pro here, and I have this case by ESR, I forget what it's called, but let's just, let's see. Okay, so it goes this way. And then let's just tuck this back in. I mean, you're not gonna, there we go. So yeah, I mean, it looks cool, I think. And it snaps on pretty well. I mean, that's so satisfying. I know Apple didn't invent magnets, but I love the ability of MagSafe to just be so easy. And let's pop this out of the case really quick. See how it looks just on the naked iPhone. The snap is a little less satisfying for some reason on the bare iPhone. Maybe because, oh, you know what's interesting? So when you snap it on the iPhone bare, I don't know if you can see, but it gives this like, which easily wipes away, but kind of leaves this little black, I don't know what you call that. Some of the material's like transferring a little bit. I don't know if that's just going to be something that happens in the beginning, but there you go again, see? No, it's just wipe offable, but something to note. I actually need to clean this plateau, this camera plateau. I've not had this out of the case in a while, so. But yeah, it doesn't look too crazy. Let's look at the thickness compared to the actual iPhone itself. It's actually a bit thicker almost, it looks like, than the iPhone, which isn't crazy, but let's see. I wanted to show you, oh yeah, the Lexar. So this is what I use. Honestly, I haven't actually used it yet, but this is what I use to, when I want to get some, what do you call that? Like the newest and latest ProRes stuff. I use this Lexar. This is a 2 terabyte, and it kind of goes in the bottom. The only problem is it is almost impossible to use this with the current case I have effectively, right? So let me pop this back in this case really quickly, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is like a 2-part case, so you got this area there, so you put that around, and then you put the second part on there. So, yep, okay. All right, so I have the case back on, And if I tried to hook this up like this, so here is the bottom, right? So it's got this, which is great for protection, right? So when you're not using it, you can cover that up and it's nice. This actually does not fit. You can see it does not fit with this currently. So what I've had to do is like, and here is like the hub. I actually got the one with the hub as well, which I always try to use the hub when I can. So what you do there is you put that there, and then you get this little piece right here. This also just doesn't work, but for a different reason this time. Just that this flap is in the way, right? So in order to really hook this bad boy up, I've almost got and I have a little packet of things that I use, right? So in order to hook that up, and you'll see how this relates to the Sharge. But, so this isn't entirely about the Sharge, but just wanted to show you kind of what I'm working with here. So in order to really do it, I've got to, either I can plug this directly into the bottom here. Now that's used differently, right? So if I was, let me see something real quick. I almost forgot how to use this. It's been a while. Hold on. Okay, and I have this one. See, this is like male to female. So it's kind of weird. The setup is odd, to say the least. Oh. And then I have this, which is female to female connector. So if you see here, I can do one of these, right? Which is really odd. Like I could do this. And then I can use it with the hub. But this is just, it's not the greatest, right? So you got the unlock to use accessories piece. It's just not the greatest, I'll be honest. It is weird. Adds a lot of bulk. So I am interested to see with this particular Sharge one, am I going to have the ability to plug this in? Which I want to say I'm doubtful, because look how thick the actual piece is right here, but we'll see. Oh, let's peel this off too. This will be satisfying. Okay. Hopefully. The mic is attached to me, so not as satisfying as if I had it up close, but. So let's put this on here. Okay. So it goes like this. Well, let's try and put this in with the case on. So that's been the biggest issue I've been having, is cased iPhone. Where, you know. It's funny because it actually magnetizes like this too. Oops. So yeah, it is not gonna work like that. So let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try to do this one again. Hold on. All right, let's see. So I can do it this way, right? And it does look definitely better, right? So you see the unlock accessories connected. Now, the cable's very tight here, but as you can see, a little bit of bulk there. But, you know, it will work. Unlock accessories here. I am not going to unlock it right now, but if you've ever seen how SSDs hook up here, it's not anything crazy. Let's turn that on. So, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it very well. Like I said, the microphone is on my shirt, so. But, let's see. So that's on turbo. Now I think auto just kicks in. Let's say I'm doing some heavy, maybe shooting, what is it? Apple Pro Log 4K, you know, all that good stuff. I think then that's when the auto will kick in, and you should see the light from that too. If you can see, the light's easy to see through this transparent case here. And that's really cool. Honestly, the fan is not very loud. This room right now is really quiet, so it might sound a bit loud. But I imagine, let's say you're out in the city or something like that, I don't think you're going to hear this. We got the SSD on. Let's see. I don't know that. I'm going to lock my phone really quick. Allow. Okay, what I want to see is if I turn this off, does it ever pop up, right? So I don't know. I don't know that the SSD on piece is really. Let me double check something really quick. So I'm gonna go on to my Files app and just see if it disappears because I said SSD off. Phone Disk Pro. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird right now. I don't think turning it on or off does not seem to do a whole lot right now. The SSD on and off button. But this did just kind of drop, so I'm not sure if that's par for the course or what. So, but I do love the look of this, and I think I will also test it out on a couple of different other products. It could be used for I think they showed it on a Switch, a Steam Deck, any of those things, which makes sense because if you've ever hubbed anything to your Steam Deck, which I have the official Valve dock, so I don't do really any other hubs, but at least for my ROG Ally X, I recently actually got the Bulwark dock, so I've been using that as a hub a bit, and it works really well, but fairly expensive. Probably not as much as this, but this also has the portability that you just can't beat, even with hooking up this with a case. Yeah, it'll be fine. And I think, you know, if you're using this on a rig, like if you have like a small rig setup where like you have that case and everything involved, like a real rig for your iPhone, you'll probably have a much easier time. This is a bulky case that covers up the button and is not the greatest, which is actually also why I'm looking into a case with like a little bit more of an open bottom, because I can't even fit some of the microphones in there. The only one I can really fit easily right now is the DJI Mic Mini, which I'm not using right now. But yeah, so it's been interesting using this case and trying to do production on the iPhone, which I honestly do not do a lot of production on the iPhone. I'm going to start incorporating more. As you can see, this one was not shot with this iPhone, but yeah, let me turn off this fan. Like I said, I imagine there's situations where auto will turn on as necessary there, but yeah, really cool product, really slim, and then it can tuck away really. I think that's a big part of it too, is the ability to tuck this away in your pocket and not feel like this is gonna get damaged very easily, because it feels like it's made with some really industrial type construction, and so it's really good to see that. And I got the Lexar bag that came with this. I mean, this could fit in there even, but it's just, yeah, really nice. I love the Sharge design language as always, and yeah, it doesn't feel as cool now, like to the touch. It doesn't feel as cold. It's cold where we're at right now in general, and it was in the mailbox, but it still feels really sturdy. So yeah, any questions you have on this, please leave them in the comments. And this is another part of the Keeping It Kickstarter playlist. And shout out to Sharge for making great products and really having that awesome design for the tech community. Stay tuned.